Okay, so we have the last part, and I promise that it will be quite short. Yeah, 2 hours. And then we will have dinner. No, we are joking. So Laura and Fabio will wrap up the discussion of this afternoon so that they will already give us some inputs or additional thoughts about what we discussed today. So I give this one to Fabio.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. The discussion was really inspiring and stimulating. We didn't, of course, as we expected, covered all the topics we wanted to cover. It's the beginning of a long work. We know at least of 12 months, and we will go further also for the next year maybe. And so what are we going to tell you as a closure, as a wrap-up of this day? That we used, first of all, your post-its. The post-it of the green color were positive news, while the red ones were about challenges, criticalities, bottlenecks, and so on. And we start from them to grasp the main messages. And that's why we drew a smile like that, and this one for the less positive things. As for the green ones, we retained a very nice slogan. It might be this one, from benchmarking to bench learning. It's yours. The winner is, wow, wonderful, thank you. Very effective, and it might be the umbrella under which we can list all the other suggestions. For example, we want to proceed like that, so it's even more interactive. I read through, I comment very quickly one step, and Fabio provides you proofs about that, reading one or two messages, post-it you wrote. Okay? So first of all, to bench learn together, to improve what we do, we have an issue referred to efficiency, gaining better, good, right data, elaborating them, having them always available, so easy to access, is also a matter to improve what we do. So it's a matter of efficiency, for example?
Yeah, for example, someone said put data on one place and make it easier to manage and compare, and also improving food bank operations. These efficiencies also again in other aspects like having reliable data, so data that are updated.
Yes, this is the second issue, which is very important. Having reliable data make us more sound when treating with our counterparts. Means also being always updated on our contextual geographical situations, but also having a very effective and quick to be, let's say so, read through benchmark with other countries. So giving the context to the data give us higher information, a better knowledge, as we saw this morning. So for reliability.
Yeah, we have the good news is that through this project we will increase the reliability of data that we have.
Okay. A third issue, if we are more efficient, if we have updated data and more reliable information, we can demonstrate that we have a very important role in society and also in what we do, so we can show ourselves in a sound way as the first player. This is a matter referred to reputation, credibility, visibility, and this is let's hope so, a very good point to transform it into communication strategies, so for external intent but also to internal needs, so how to motivate, how to align volunteers, collaborators, and so on. And also for this we have some post-its.
Yeah, for example, there is room for communications of impact of FEBA plus rebrand, so this work is opens to this opportunity, or also showing leadership for implementation of the reporting tool and underlying registration. So there is room for positioning FEBA as a first player.
Then we have two good news, which are at the same time also some criticalities, because we are talking about social return of investments and also the footprint, so CO2, environmental impact. These are two areas which you consider as key, as important. Some countries are already working on that. Some others are still thinking about the real effect in treating data refers to social impact and environmental impact. So maybe we can read something.
Several persons find space for giving out richer data. So, for example, someone says thanks to this system, there is possibilities for FEBA CO2 footprint measurement. So there is room for showing the environmental impact of our work, which is something new, at least for some food banks. And at the same time, there is room for showing the social impact of our work. So it's like opening to new possibilities in terms of what we are communicating outside.
Of course. No surprise if we also have some difficulties, some criticalities or some difficulties, and maybe the key sentence might be this one: from theory to practice, how to transform abstract numbers into practical guidelines in order to improve what we do, and how to keep simplicity in the use of the platform, for example. So these are two requests from the group.
No.
For example, the first step to solve is to get to a common shared taxonomy, how we define the indicators, also the goals, not only the indicators. First of all, the goals and then the indicators. And for this reason, we have some
you can take this maybe.
Yes,
what do you think?
Yes.
Okay. We must be keep attention on the fact that we must present data that are really comparable. So comparability and a common set, a common definition is absolutely pivotal. There was another one that I'm not finding right now. I'm so sorry about that. Too many thoughts.
So many.
But it was about it was highlighting the importance of reaching common definitions, basically. So this is very a challenge.
And here we have a triple list. 3 points strictly related, one to each other. First, avoid complexity. Otherwise, the consequence is that people populating the database do not engage in doing them, are not constant over time, and they become demotivated, and so the database dies very quickly. So 3 points that are strictly related, and here we have plenty of.
So, for example, the first one I was interested by this is the platform come with a lot of lines, so a lot of fields to fill, and comparisons we will not be able to manage and continue. So there is a trade-off here between between complexity, meaning how many data do we have, and simplicity, how simple is it to maintain the data set.
And then we have good practices which sometimes are not so easily comparable. So how to transform our know-how, our experience into something we can compare with very different contexts and also food banks. And also here maybe we have this one, yes, how to transform.
Yeah, so this was great because it was from KPIs to guidelines and good practices. So we must be sure to train all the network on the correct understanding of what is a KPI, as we did today. We should find a way to use the data we update and we save in the platform into good practices for national federations and food banks. Okay.
Someone is also afraid about security of data. Once populated the database, how they are treated and who can query the platform. So this is your
there was at least one or maybe two security issues. Of course, I say of course because from my side is of course, but maybe it's something that we should underline more. The platform will be built over the common standards and the most new security standards, which means HTTPS, so security connection, end-to-end, point-to-point, cryptography basically, and all the standards about the database, where data are stored, so they will be GDPR compliant. Absolutely, I mean this is something absolutely fundamental, and also the way in which people will recover password, get password, and how we will manage all these security aspects will be standard compliant. So we will follow the basic rules of securities.
Yes, then going towards the end of this discussion, we recollected, we remembered the 4 areas from which we started, so the environmental, the social, nutritional and economic. And in this sense, we grasped some key messages. For example, as for environment, CO2, it might be an interesting indicator, even though it's not so easy to transform what we have in terms of numbers into an effective metric referred to the environmental impact. But for sure, finding out some solutions in this direction might be useful for us, of course. As for social impact, the social return on investment, especially when treating in a B2B, not B2C, B2B context. So when contacting or interacting with funding companies or donors, private donors, this is quite important because this can be easily translated and, yes, integrated in their reputation strategies, in their communication strategies. So it's something important on which probably we will have to work more. As for nutritional impact, as we saw with the infograph with the odors, the babies and so on, the colleague coming from UK talked about the judgment on the good food or non-good food. This is a key topic. The pyramid is a matter of distributing the nutrients and so on, but sometimes it's not so easily to share the same vision on the food, what is a good food and what is not. So maybe it's more easy to reason on the nutritional, let's say, so ingredients of food more than specific typologies, but also this is open to discussion. And to finish, the economic impact. When we speak about economics, it's a very large topic, very large area. We have to be more focused, to narrow it. And for example, how to count food banks and the federation and other contributions in terms of food collections and food redistribution. So it's not so plain and straight, the way we have to operationalize inside our platform. So the positive thing is that we started, we grasped many inspiring suggestions, but also questions. We thank you very much. And I think the key point is to quantify the results, but also to qualify them. Also the qualitative data might be useful, the storytelling, the best practices, together with sound and updated, quantified, let's say, indicators, is something even more effective. But we probably will use both quantitative and qualitative data, bearing in mind our goals and objectives, of course, because the starting point is the goal, and so through this logical path we can work on the choice of the indicators and on the way we can operationalize them into the platform. I think that is all. We thank you very much. Maybe Angela, you want to close, add something, or Jacques? Please, yes, of course.
I have two questions, very concrete. What is the exact timing of the project in terms of, for example, when will be the implementation or training phase to the food banks? Is there more? Can you be a bit more clear for that?
Yes.
About that? And second, you spoke about a pilot project team or pilot project team. Who is in there, and is it still possible, for example, for the Belgian Federation to join in or not?
Okay. He's joking. No.
No, after your question, no.
Good.
May we answer? Okay.
Yeah, Angela.
Angela, maybe this is yours.
Yes. So, well, this morning I presented the calendar of the different activities. So, well, today is the kickoff meeting, and we will have the final meeting of the event of the project at the beginning of December 2020. So let's say that in the middle. So from tomorrow to the beginning of December, we will work with physical meetings and online meetings. In order also to have a very concrete and regular exchange of views and feedbacks, and has well, starting from the KPIs, but also working on the different how do you call them? Data set, but also the
Italian?
anche in italiano. le diverse fasi della platform che vengono the releases. Yeah. So and the idea is to have also let's say, so starting from today, then a first broader and more general update on the occasion of the annual convention, where we will have several food bankers, but then in the meantime we can better structure the calendar. But let's say that the program is quite intense, because we would like to have let's say at least a first pilot platform, maybe not the best or the final platform, but at least a first platform by the end of the year. And so before this first platform, we will need some tests and experiments, feedbacks, and different releases. Yeah.
And then it continues next year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because, well, we consider this project, well, we know that it's not an easy project. And so for sure, well, today, and also this year, it's just the beginning. And then as regards the small group of countries, well, the list of countries is not defined yet. So we are still thinking, and then we will share with you our proposal.
Yeah. If I can add. If I can add one detail, since we are using a bottom-up approach and an agile approach, we know that the most critical phase is the first one, so the first milestone, definition of KPIs, that will be challenging, okay?
Yes.
But then I can say you that the second phase will be designing some wireframes, so sketch of how the final platform should look like. So first we define what the platform has to do, okay? Second, we sketch and we agree on wireframes, which basically means functionalities, okay? And then when we have the wireframes, we can precisely define a release plan, okay? By the way, the final deadline is the early December, so we will have for sure something operating by that date. We will understand what does it mean in the middle, okay? Does it make sense? Is it too Italian? No? Okay.
Good.
Right. Okay. Maybe we can close the session.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you
to everybody.
Well, I would like just to thank you all for coming to Brussels and participating to this kickoff meeting, but also all those who were connected today since the beginning until now. Hi. No, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much to Fabio and Laura for your energy and for sharing your knowledge with us. So thank you all. Very practical details. So Anna sent, and also I have to thank Anna and Charlotte for preparing and organizing the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So Anna sent you an email with the evaluation form. So it's a very short evaluation, but we need this data because then we have to inform and share this knowledge with the European Commission. Well, not only with the European Commission, but it's very, I'm learning.
Yes.
I'm impressed.
No, well, it's very important for us because, well, we always want to improve, so we want to know what is your feedback about today from the content of the meeting, but also the accommodation, the dinner, the lunch, the meeting room, so all the different aspects of the meeting. And also because, well, we will have to share this knowledge and this information with the European Commission, so thank you for sending us the evaluation form. It's quite short, so don't worry. And then we will send you an email with all the presentations, the video of today, and you will also receive the information about travel reimbursement. And then what else? So for the dinner this evening, we will meet here at the reception of the hotel at 7:20, and then we will go together. It's 5 minutes walking from the hotel. So just maybe bring the umbrella with you because, well, it's Brussels, so you never know. And then last but not least, I would like to ask you if we can take a picture all together for communicating and disseminating what we have learned today.
Nice.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.